In this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips for selling comics on eBay. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another video with Swaggle. And in this video, I'm going to share with you 5 tips for selling comic books on eBay. Now, last couple weeks, I've made some videos that share with you 5 tips for buying comics in an LCS and buying comics in eBay. And this week, I thought we should be on the other side of things, and I could share with you some lessons that I've learned while participating in the eBay selling game, and maybe share with you some stuff that might be helpful for you guys when you eventually sell comic books on eBay. So but before I get into that, if you guys could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the content, would help support the channel, and I love engaging with you guys, and let me know if you guys have some tips of your own, because I'm selling stuff and I always want to learn things as well. So that being said, let me share with you guys my 5 tips for selling comic books on eBay, and with a little bit of a caveat here. Now, there's a lot of great information out there. There's other creators that are not only in the comic book space, but also in the eBay space that have shared some great ideas within selling. But these were ones that, I kind of wanted to get a little more sort of in the weeds with things, less generic stuff that I presume the people out there who are finding this video and who are watching would sort of already know. I think, it goes without being said that, you should have good descriptions and good pictures and things like that. So these are more like, nitty gritty sort of tips, and hopefully you guys find this helpful. So with that being said, let me get into tip number 1, which is going to be utilize promotions and discounts. Utilize promotions and discounts. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, look, when you're selling your comic book, obviously you want to get the best price possible, right? You want to be able to get not only fair market value, but you would ideally love to get above fair market value. If a book is hot, right? You want to get the best bang for your buck. But with that being said, your goal really should be to move your inventory, right? A comic book is worth a certain amount of money so long as someone actually is willing to pay that amount of money. Now, unless you're actually getting someone to, buy it, then the comic book actually isn't worth what you're saying that it's worth. So that said, it's really important that you guys utilize, the offers and the promoted listings that you can use to sell your comic book. So let me show you guys here. If I pull up eBay, we can see that this happens to be my eBay account. But if I go into one of my listings here, you'll see right here, I have a listing, a board game right here that I'm allowed to, because I have 7 watchers for this item, I'm allowed to send an offer. Now, I listed this item at $60, but I could actually send to, currently right now there's 3 interested buyers that I could send this to. I could maybe send this to $50 and review the offer and send this off to them, and they would get a discounted price of $10. And, granted, I feel like maybe I want to get $60 for that item, but, how long do I need to wait for someone to actually be willing to pay that exact amount that I'm asking for? Whereas, if I'm willing to just take $10 less, I can make that sale today. And what I'm telling you guys essentially is you should utilize this. Like, you don't need to hold on with an iron fist, this exact price that you have to get. I mean, granted, if you have certain CGC labeled items that you feel like this is exactly what it should go for, that's one thing. But if you're talking about selling raw comic books or raw items and you're within the ballpark, don't sweat, that $5 or $10 margin, if you can make the sale today. Similarly, utilize those promoted listings. Now, this is something that is a little bit different, because you have to have been a certain seller of a certain standing to utilize this thing. But let me show you guys in case you want to see it. When you have an item, if I go here, once you get to a certain level, you can actually do a promoted listing. What does that do? You basically talk to eBay and you suggest an ad rate. And this will be eBay forcing your item to other people when they do searches. So if you ever notice when you're searching for an item and you see like a sponsored link, it'll show you, oh, this is a sponsored thing. That's what this is. This is a promoted listing, so that I'm getting my item in front of people before they ever have to scroll. Now, one of the things is you can negotiate with eBay an ad rate. And what eBay is telling you that if you say, oh, I want an ad rate of a certain percentage, they're going to take $2.31 off of your sale in order to do that. But yeah, so it's a negotiation with eBay. They're gonna help promote your item from a marketing standpoint, and they're gonna make a little more money off of that item for helping you sell it. Now you may want to keep every single dollar that you possibly can. But again, what I'm sort of suggesting is you want to be moving your inventory. You want to be selling your items. And the better you can realize a sale, or the faster you can sort of realize a sale, whether it's through an offer or a promoted listing, the faster that you are able to get that sort of liquid cash and get a return on your actual item. So anyways, that's tip number one: utilize offers and promoted listings. All right, going on to tip number two now. Tip number two is going to be use transparency. Use transparency. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, this is something that, kind of goes into the weeds of when you're taking your pictures, when you're in your descriptions, and when you're talking about a book, use transparency. If you have a detached staple on the cover, if you have a detached centerfold, don't be afraid to show that. I know it can be tempting to, sort of want to gloss over some of the flaws of your book, especially if it's like, even if it's just like a small crease and you're like, I don't really need to like show anyone that. But what I'm telling you guys is I think it's always better overall to just show people exactly what you're selling, so that therefore there's no confusion when they end up buying the book, and you're not going to get any complaints, because there's nothing worse than making a sale, sending out a book, and then receiving a complaint on the other end from a customer who either wants to return the sale, and then you got to like talk to eBay about this thing. Maybe you don't accept returns, but they're going to leave a bad review, and then your account gets like flagged for not being a good seller, et cetera, et cetera. So you don't want to engage in any of those sort of things. So it's really important that you use transparency. And just really quickly, I might as well just show you, but like I have an item here where, one of my staples is detached on the book, and I have this picture, and you can very clearly see, I show that in this book, the staple is detached on the bottom. And then in the description, I mention this. I say, unfortunately, it has a loose staple, which you can see in the picture. So again, it's really important to be transparent with your listings. And again, don't be afraid to show people exactly what it is, because you want people to feel like they know what they're buying. And then that way, when they receive it, they're not going to be upset or surprised at anything, and they'll be a happy customer. So anyways, that's tip number two: use transparency. All right, tip number three now is going to be create bundles and themes. Create bundles and themes. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, it's one thing to, on eBay, take every single individual comic book that you can and sell them. And you can totally do it that way. And that might actually be the best way to make the, most exact penny that you can make with each sale of an item. But it can get really tedious, especially if you have books that are like, okay, this is only worth $5, and you want to individually sell all of those books for $5. Well, that's a lot of time to create those listings. That's a lot of time to send out each individual thing. That's a lot of shipping materials. If you're using Gemini mailers, that you're going to sell a book for $5 to use a Gemini mailer that's costing you 50 cents. Like the money doesn't work out, or it's not worth the effort. So with this tip, I'm saying you should create bundles and thematic, listings so that you can sell multiple comics at once. So for instance, if I go over here, I have a listing that, again, I'll just show you. It's a Hulkbuster lot. And this is an Iron Man lot that I put together that happens to be like the Kaminsky run. So you can see here from this picture, it's a lot of the Iron Man listings. This is like number 300 through 306. And, it involves the Hulkbuster, first appearance of Hulkbuster, et cetera, et cetera. So what's cool about this is that, instead of me selling those individual comic books, like, I can get a decent amount for, the first appearance of Hulkbuster as an individual book, but the filler issues that surround it, those only sell for $1 or $2. So if I lump them all into a bundle and create a thematic, sort of run that this is like Iron Man number 299 through 306, then you're able to move more overall inventory, and you can have a discounted price, and both parties win in that sense, is that they're getting more bang for their buck when they buy a bundle, because per book being sold, it's less of an overall price, and you're getting a win because you're getting higher overall dollar and also selling a lot more of your comics in one fell swoop. So anyways, create bundles, create thematic things, do runs. If you have story runs, get them all together. I would even encourage, if you have like a run of a random comic or whatever, and you have numbers 290 through 295, but you're missing one book like 292, like I would even say go to an LCS, find that 292 and then sell it so that you can have like a full run, and that'll move a lot faster to have a complete like story or a complete themed bundle than to sell the books individually. Anyways, all right, so that let me move on to tip number 4 now. And tip number 4 is going to be nurture older listings. Nurture older listings. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Well, it's not every comic book you sell is going to be, a hot, Ultimate Fallout 4 Miles Morales book that's going to fly like hotcakes, or a Star Wars book that has Boba Fett in it that, is going to sell the instant you put it online. So you're going to have a lot of books that are going to be sitting there in your inventory for many, many, many days. I mean, weeks, months, who knows how long it'll take certain books to sell. And for those listings that you have that are older, you need to nurture those. So that is to say, maybe you have something that's priced a little too high. You need to go back and look at what are the comparable items that are being sold that are the same comic and see, maybe you priced yours too high, or maybe you need to redo the title because people aren't able to search it properly, or maybe the pictures you have aren't showing it well. So you need to update your main photo because not enough people are clicking at it. So these are the types of things you should look at, and I'll show you guys right here. If you go into your eBay items being sold, pay attention to the number. Here you see the views of how many people are seeing it. And if you're looking at a listing that has like a very small amount of views, then that would suggest to me that, for whatever reason, people aren't looking at it, people aren't searching at it. And that's something that you need to nurture, whether it's change the photo, change the title, make some new keywords, et cetera, et cetera. All right, and that's going to lead me to the last tip of my 5 tips for selling comic books on eBay. And that's going to be tip number 5, which is double check shipping. Double check shipping. Okay, well, what do I mean by that? This is going to be the most straightforward tip that I'm going to give you guys today, because this is something that I've burned myself multiple times doing. But when you do a listing, when you create your items and you put it in there, you also, if you're going to sell shipping on top of the cost that it takes to sell the item or to buy the item, you need to make sure that you're double checking the shipping. Because there's been multiple times where I've made a listing and then instead of putting, whatever it is, like $4 or $5 for shipping, I've actually forgot to put the shipping in there. So effectively, when I put the item up, it said free shipping. So later on, I would get a sale and I'd be like, yeah, I got a sale. Let me check this out. And I realized that I put free shipping because I didn't update my shipping when I did the original listing, and then I had to eat the shipping cost because it just is what it is. If someone buys it and it says free shipping, you can't have bad karma and make them pay for shipping after the fact. It's just not what you should do. That's your bad. You didn't put shipping on it. So anyways, double check the shipping, and similarly, make sure that you're doing all the calculations properly. This is a whole other thing, learning how to ship. That's something that you guys should also learn to do. But as far as this specific tip is going to be, that's going to be double check your shipping. Anyways, that's my 5 tips for selling comic books on eBay. Hopefully you guys found that helpful. Let me know in the comments, do you guys have any tips of your own? I'm always trying to learn new things, so let me know. And if you could drop me a like or comment or subscribe if you're enjoying the video, that would be great. And I will see you in the next one.